Happy Sunday to you. Listen, today this is a special episode of Monica Mentors. We are going to talk about emoji awareness. I just heard like 3 or 4 or 5 of my kids just like chewing me out just in that very second. But we have got to talk about some of these emojis, y'all. Mom, Dad, you need to know what your teens and young adults are really saying online. Okay, listen. These are my confessions. I just found out what's the saying? I was today years old when I found out what the doggone purple, the what do you call it, the eggplant emoji. I was like, get the heck out of here. I didn't even know what that meant. So that was kind of the motivation for this show because somebody asked me about it and I had no clue. And needless to say, y'all, it started a whole conversation between me and my husband because he was like, I mean, you work with kids. You should have been knew that. Well, I didn't. And I bet your mom and dads and aunts and uncles, grandma, granddad. Well, I don't know. Y'all grandma, granddads, y'all kind of hip nowadays. So y'all probably already knew. But we are going to talk about these emojis. So in this eye-opening episode, we're going to dive into that world. We're going to uncover some of the hidden meanings behind some of those symbols that your teens use online. This is how they communicate. We're going to provide some practical tips and insights to help you as parents decode what those messages are. But more importantly, we want you to open up and foster an open, honest conversation with your teens about their online behavior and safety. All right, so what the heck is an emoji? So according to Oxford Languages, it is a small digital image or an icon used to express an idea or an emotion. It was most popularly, matter of fact, one of the most popular emoji symbols used in 2024 by your teens, according to doorfinder.com, was a face full of joy. That was surprising to me because some of y'all teens always be walking around mad and like they about ready to punch the world. But that was the number one emoji for 2024. And this emoji represents uncontrollable laughter and extreme happiness. Who knew? Teens still laugh. They like to be happy. All right. So the top relationship emojis used by teens and young adults in 2024. Of course, common sense, a heart. Got one on my shirt. It represents love and happiness. All right. Blowing the face, that's blowing a kiss. Mom, dad, that indicates affection or a sweet gesture. That's a nice one. The smiley face with the heart and the 2 eyes, that is showing that they like somebody. They may be infatuated, so keep that in mind. The smiley face with the halo, that's happiness or positive feeling. I was surprised, Joe. And listen, because I'm having some thoughts. And some of the faces that I see on a lot of teens nowadays, I just was a little surprised that these were the top emojis for 2024. The winking face makes sense. They use that when they are flirting or they have a playful attitude with one of their friends. The winking face with the tongue. That's a flirty one as well. The 2 hearts. I saw the large heart, the small heart. That signifies the love or a strong bond. Now, this one, I didn't get it, but your kids said it was popular. The smiling cat with the heart and the eyes. They also use that to express love or affection. The cat, I guess, symbols in a cute way. Like I love you in a cute way. Dumb to me, but it makes sense to your kids. All right. The emoji where they do the heart to hand symbol. My kids do that to me almost every single Sunday when I see them. It's often used to express love or affection towards someone or someone they respect. But they also use it to convey that something that you said or something you did was cute to them or it was sincere. But when they're with their peers, it's potentially a flirty vibe. So that one had several meanings to it. The emoji, where I think it's finger to finger, left to right, they use that to convey shyness. My kids aren't shy, so that's probably why I've never seen that one before. They use it to show that they're hesitant on something. They use that one to show that they're nervous, especially in the context of when they're flirting with someone or someone is flirting with them. It can be a cute way to show that they're interested in a person, but they're a little bit nervous to interact with them. Or they may be a little nervous to make the first move. The smiling face with the two hearts, that shows a strong attraction. That means they like that person. So if you see that on their online or you see them texting and you see that one, that means that's someone they really, really like, mom and dad. I don't like that word, they may be infatuated with them, but that was the context that it gave. Again, the eggplant emoji is used to represent the male private parts. Who knew? No clue. It's an eggplant. It's a vegetable. I didn't know the kids use it online, and I bet a lot of y'all didn't know it either. But if you see that, that's what it represents. A peach. I'm in the peach state. A peach emoji is used to represent the butt. They use it in a sexual context. Mom and dad, a good old peach. The red pepper emoji indicates they feel the person have a little spiciness or they're spicy. They do tend to use it in a risque way, FYI. It is one of the top symbols that they use when they are sexting one another. A cherry. Well, I put 2 and 2 together on that, but mom and dad, most of y'all probably didn't. They use that sexual connotation. They are the watermelon. I was like, are you kidding me? It is used, we use it to just, it's summertime. It's one of the things that they use when they're sexting to describe the breast. Didn't make sense to me, makes sense to them. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure in sharing these with you guys is the kids are using this online. And whether it may be something simple, whether it may be, trying to start a relationship, there are people who are putting our kids, especially those who are not coming with the right intentions or the right reasoning online. They are using some of these symbols to be communicating with the kids, and they are putting themselves possibly in an unsafe space by talking to these individuals and promoting unsafe relationships. They are also, from the context, I know you heard me mentioning the tone sexting. That's something that they do a lot more on their phones than online. So you may want to be mindful of that, mom and dad. Come on now, we grown. Mom and dad, some of y'all using these too, in your dating relationships. But just be mindful that your kids are too. And I think one positive thing that I want to give you about these emojis, it was very refreshing to see that I didn't find a lot of emojis suggesting that they are not in a good place. They're not happy. They're not in a place where they were different. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. They were different in 2024. And a lot of that may have to do with having a good home life, having good safe spaces in the school, having good, safe relationships. I know there's this sentence we used to use when I was back in my career earlier in the day. You could never use the word safety. We were never allowed to use that word. But nowadays, with us having online presence and through our cell phones, we have to make sure that we're being mindful of that with our children. On a previous episode, as I mentioned, trafficking starts a lot of times online and on that online activity. And so even though I was being a bit playful with these particular emojis as we started, but these are some of the things that are used to attract our kids to get them to engage in the online space in some capacities to get them to maybe be caught off guard. And so that's why I wanted to familiarize you guys with these emojis. Now, I use some of these sometimes when I am communicating myself because they all are locked into our phones. You know, it's nothing to hit one of the little gift things and all of these automatically pop up on my phone. And like I said, a lot of them, I didn't even know what they meant. But again, from the context of what we do on this show with Monica Mentors is encouraging our parents to know what's going on with our kids and to unfold these things so that you can have an open and an honest discussion. I am always going to say the same thing on every simple. This is a no, we don't judge. We're not fussing. We're not making them seem like, oh, you're in trouble. This is a way for you parents to also learn how to have those conversations with our teens so that they won't get caught off guard. Will stuff happen sometimes? Yes. But if you prepare them, then that they'll feel something, you know, this ain't right. Let me not open, let me delete this, you know, and they won't feel so comfortable talking to everybody online and starting those conversations that may put them in a space where they're not ready to be. I just got to go back though. One of the things that I don't know if you guys realize in the top relationship emojis for 2024, there were a lot of emojis that were used for sex. And so, mom, dad, you're still thinking that it's not appropriate to talk to your kids about sex? You're still thinking that they're not gonna have sex before marriage? You're still thinking that not my child? I hope that you won't keep doing that. I hope that you won't keep assuming that it's not your responsibility, or like a lot of us do, we tend to, there is a such thing as age appropriate. But have you watched the local television stations recently? You don't even have to have a paid subscription for them to be able to see the things that they see on television that you may not have been exposed to. Why risk having them to learn about these things in the wrong manner? Why risk continuing walking around like I did, not realizing what the eggplant emoji was? Why continue to walk around not knowing what the cherry or the peach emoji represents? If not now, when? I say it all the time. If not who, why not you? Why not take advantage of a emoji conversation to even see what your child knows about sex and intimacy? Why not use emojis to possibly find out who they're communicating to online, on their phone? It's the practical things that makes the difference. It's the practical things. Come to them with what they're doing, and they will show you and share with you what matters. But Lord of mercy, please don't come to them with this entitlement attitude. Don't come to them like you already know all the answers. You're going to lose them every time. So I'm challenging you. Pick one of the emojis. Ask them what it means. If you ask them and they start giggling, then guess what? They already know that there are some conversations that they've had. They've just got to process the fact that their mom or their dad or their aunts and uncles are asking them about it. Take this simple thing, something as simple as start with, as an example, the winking face with the tongue. Ask them what that means. Ask them when they use that. Use some reverse psychology, because some of y'all too deep. Use some reverse psychology, especially y'all who are not married, or I take that back, who are married, and you're just curious. You can even share with them, somebody sent you that, you didn't even know what it meant. Because for me, with that emoji, I thought somebody was saying it from the standpoint of, girl, you ain't gonna believe this, so this is crazy. But that was from my adult understanding of it. That wasn't my understanding once I start researching these for our teens. So that's another conversation, an action item for you to consider, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and grandmothers. Talk to them, because again, what you think as an adult the emoji may mean is the total opposite context of how they use it. I hate to tell y'all, this online conversations are not going anywhere. I hate to tell you, these texting conversations are not going anywhere. I even hate more to tell you that just because you don't want to talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's no different than all of us who will have a situation or something before us as a community. And we all think, well, this person will handle it. Oh, this many people going to do it, so I don't have to worry about it. For your children, even though they play like it doesn't, your voice is always going to matter to them. But you have to choose how to use that voice. And so you may have to become a little bit less deep, less come to their level on some of these conversations. Now, listen, let me be clear. Some of y'all who have become friends with your children, I can't relate to that, because that's not how I was raised. My mother was younger than most moms, but I still knew she was my mother. And so some of you guys who have chosen to become friends with your kids, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for you guys to come to a conversation on some common ground. And so y'all may have the ideal conversation talking about these emojis. Maybe y'all can share some stories. You may even be able to pull out some nuggets to get them to talk to you a little bit more. Those of you who are like me that grew up in a different climate, parents, do a little research like I did. And start with one that seems like it would be comfortable for you to start a conversation. But now don't do it when they're mad now. Because if you do it when they're mad, they're not going to talk. But if you're in a place where you find something on your child's phone, or if you find something on the computer, or you see these little emojis popping up, take a deep breath first. It's okay to say, I need to step back for a second. But just again, make sure that you're in a healthy space when you have these conversations. Because if you don't, I say this on all of my episodes, your kids will shut down in a heartbeat. Didn't you do it when you were younger? There were things that I knew if I felt, I sort of kind of assumed, or with my dad, I sort of kind of assumed, that's the key word, because of how they responded to some things previously. I think every young person does that. I don't care who you are. Every young person, I believe, my opinion, because of how their parents handled something previously, they automatically assume of what the response is going to be. And parents, aunts, uncles, in some ways, we've put ourselves in that situation because we did respond more than the same way, whether it was consistently, routinely, that's the word I'm looking for, routinely, we respond to some of those situations in a similar manner that made them feel like, well, what's the use of talking to them, because they're going to turn this into, they're going to make something out of nothing. So when you have the conversation, especially for those emojis that seem to have a sexual context to them. Just make sure that you don't make something out of nothing. Make sure that you also, if you pray and step away and then come back to them and find a safe space. Take them to the movies, maybe talk in the car, have a pizza night, have a, I love chicken fingers, have a chicken finger night, watch something on television. There are a lot of shows out there on different streaming platforms that can open up this conversation for you. But not talking about it is going to leave you blindsided. They're doing it. Whether they're doing it physically or in symbols. And let me tell you, kids are smart because they tricked us a little bit. Because what they did was they changed conversation into symbols. And so they just found another way to communicate with each other. But so we wouldn't know what words they were using. They have a whole conversation right here. And so you've got to learn the language of the teens. You've got to learn the language of the young adults. You've got to step into that world for a lot of you guys if you want to save your children. You got to, and don't assume. Do not assume. I need to put this on a t-shirt. Never assume what your children are doing or not doing. Don't assume. Because a lot of y'all, you're going to be crying. And a lot of y'all, you're going to be hurt. Because there's resources, podcasts, testimonial services. There are people like myself who, child, I used to nickname myself. I was like, shoot, I was Rahab in the Bible. Go read about Rahab and y'all figure that out. I ain't getting you everything. But there are a lot of us like myself who made some not so great choices. God redeemed us, and now we're willing to come out in podcasts and in mentoring shows and sharing our content on social media. We're not coming to come at you. We're just saying, listen, if it happened to me, it can happen to your child who was raised in the church also. Is it going to happen? We're not saying that. We're just saying if it does happen, here are some tools and some tricks and some tips that you can use to win your sons and daughters back to the space where before they were formed, God knew them and they can come back and finish their assignments. See, everything in life is about an assignment. Everything that you do is about becoming the best you. And if you choose not to take advantage of the resources that are out there, that doesn't have anything to do with us. That's all about you. And if you get tripped up by the symbols that your child is using, has nothing to do with us. That's all about you. And this is free information. Most of us don't charge for this information. I know there are some shows that you have to subscribe to get the information. I don't personally have a problem with that because I'll pay $1 trillion to save my nieces and nephews. I'll do whatever it needs to take to be an open vessel to them so they won't feel like I did in some cases that I created for myself because I didn't know how to talk. The one thing that it'll be hard for you to find me to do. I don't have time to sit around and blame everybody for things that I should have or could have or I did do. But that's water under the bridge. You got all these streaming platforms that can help you do what you need to do to save your child. You got churches, you got prayer leaders, you got groups, you got focal groups, there's counseling. Don't wait until your child gets in the trouble to try to get them out of the trouble. I know a lot of people right now that are locked up to this day because it was too late to get them out of what they got into. So the biggest takeaway from this episode today, guys, don't wait until they're in a situation that you can't get them out of. Emojis may sound simple. A lot of trouble starts out simple. Get it while it's small. Jump in there, take action, and go back and grab your kids. I definitely want you to make sure that you share this episode today. I want you, because this was a special edition, so share it. Every single senior person, every mother, every uncle, every aunt, share this episode. Get on there and take the time to research. Look in your own phone. You're going to see most of these emojis are on your own phone. Go online, do your research. Go on my website. Support those of us who were raised in the church, who are trying to do what we can do to help you to get your children to the place where they need to be in wisdom and in love, and they won't be trapped about a lot of things that we got trapped in, because now a lot of us are sharing our testimonies with you. Take my testimony and win. Take my testimony and be the best you, and create your child to be the best them that they can be. Help them. Don't hurt, help. Take the pressure off of them. They got a whole lot more pressure than you do. And they're proving it, because now they have to talk in words and in symbols. Until we talk again, be the best you can do. Do all that you can do. Say what you can say, but don't get on my nerves, and don't get on your kids' nerves. All right, guys. I will be back soon. Get on my website, monicamartinfletcher.com. Oh, listen, I forgot to tell you guys. I just got on Twitter, Monica Mentors. I am on Blue Sky, Monica Mentors. I am updated on my YouTube page, Monica Mentors. You have no excuses. Take me, take my words, take my mistakes, take my information, and go make your kids greater than greater can be. Because one thing I'm going to tell you is God is, God does, God is, God loves, and God can be exactly everything that you need him to be. But you got to trust him. All right, guys, until we talk next time, be blessed.